Alright folks, now before we start, it is only on the Russian server, so you should not worry about it. But if it's proven successful on the Russian server, then it might bleed to the other servers. So for now, it's still interesting to talk about rather than talking about nothing. We got no news for like 2 weeks now. It is the 𝘍𝘬𝘴 or flamethrower on the Russian tanks, and practically a mini artillery piece that has armor, has speed and camo. Just lacks the view range and actual range with a flamethrower jet, but it runs up to you, dealing consistent damage while stunning you regardless of the armor. So same amount of stun for light tanks and heavy tanks, but less damage for heavy tanks. Imagine a platoon of 3 of these bum rushing you all with flamethrowers. You're basically a toast, literally. At that point, it's not a new concept. They have tested it back in October with the 𝘍𝘬𝘴 thing that has a modified 75mm gun mantlet thing. It already clips through the mantlet, but they already tested it with armor, with speed and camo. Just no view range and no actual range of the gun. So practically a bunker that's fast. And it is pretty toxic with 3 of these. They classify it as a tank destroyer, but now they updated all the stats. So let's take a look. Oh, let's just take a look at the original burning animation. So you deal more damage to a medium tank than a heavy tank, yada yada. And space armor doesn't really affect that much from what I see. So the tracks acting as space armor. And obviously hitting the rear with less armor, you deal more damage, yada yada. So pretty simple, but let's take a look at the new mechanics and pictures on the Russian server. So burning a T-34 or ELC. The flame fuel icon. Yeah, it's flame fuel, but I think they use like ammo as the flame ammo back then. Or they use a high explosive. They just changed the picture, but back then it's a high explosive with 50 meters per second shell velocity. Penetrating 85mm. It's a flame jet, but now they updated all the stuff into a barrel. This is the new Tier A premium. It is like the 𝘍𝘬𝘴, but it is Russian. Looks like a T-72. We have later on bigger pictures, but like the same concept. It has armor, and this is a modified T-26 Russian light tank that fires a flame jet over a actual cover. Toxic. So dealing more damage to less armor, yada yada. Of course, logically speaking. And if this thing could burn modules like ammo racks or fuel tanks, then yeah, that is pretty broken. You just basically get damage ammo racks and fuel tanks, and you're set on fire, or you're already on fire at that point. And instantly shell explode with a damage ammo rack or destroy ammo rack. But yeah, you cannot burn people in a mass area, otherwise that would be super broken. Like do this in a fan formation or spread. That would be pretty good. You can also lob it. It is a range thing, it's a jet, but you can lob the stream of napalm or something, but okay. Just more pictures. Is that a 𝘍𝘬𝘴? That looks like a Tiger 1 or... No, that's a VK4502A version with the stock turret, I think. Small pictures. So this is the Tier 2 freebie. This is the gift. Modified T-26. They call it XT-130. Categorized as artillery piece. Using fuel ammo. The commander does mostly everything than driving, but it is a T-26 with a flamethrower. It has no armor. And not that fast, but it deals consistent damage. And DPM is high for a Tier 2. Like real high. I mean, if this thing was as fast as a T7 combat car, then probably broken. But 700 fuel thing amount, 60 meters per second. Penetrating only 19mm, so shouldn't the flame at tier 2 be the same as flame at tier 8, right? It's a flame. Flame doesn't have penetration. They give a penetration value to flames now, but 25 damage per flame tick. It is a clip. It is a burst damage, like with the model of the Char Model 75. So burst like the model, but you're just using flames instead of shell bursts. So it's a flame burst. 10 seconds to reload. 2 seconds between each clip. There's 28 rounds. You fire 7 rounds per burst, so 4 bursts of the flames. It's pretty quick between each burst as well, but it's a bunch of math, but you have a consistent burn of 7 seconds? Wait, shouldn't be 4 seconds? You have 7 shell of 28. There's 4 rounds of burst. Huh. So 100 times 7 seconds then. No, it's 20. Math is hard. We'll do this later. So basically you have 700 fuel. I don't know if you can consistently burn for 10 seconds, but I think you might run out of ammo if you spam too much with the flame. Now this thing doesn't have armor. It doesn't have the speed. So you still have to ambush people. It doesn't have the view range as well. Yeah, radio is also crap. Your ambush vehicle. Ambush people with the flamethrower. I mean, it's tier 2. Nobody plays tier 2, but that is still pretty toxic. Look at that DPM, 2100 for a tier 2. It has only like what? 300 health. Or no? Yeah, 300 health. You can burn 7 tanks. 6 tanks or 7 tanks in a minute if you're good enough. Or consistently firing, but still. That's pretty scary for a tier 2, especially with no armor, right? I mean, you're facing off with like 20-ish, 30-ish millimeters of armor. It's a fun concept to try out at lower tiers. But here is the main caveat. They want you to buy the higher tier, a modified, looks like a T72 chassis, 6 road wheels with large road wheels. They added a mantlet with a support to a flamethrower on this thing, 3-man crew. It is considered as artillery, so funny enough, that prevents you from 3-man platoon of 3 artilleries, technically based on game limitation, so you cannot get bum rushed with 3 of these, which is a good thing, but it is categorized as artillery piece, just a flame-throwing artillery piece. But yeah, it looks like a T72 with the road wheels and the spread. A T55 has only 5, and there's a little cleft between the first one and the second one. T62s have smaller road wheels. It looks like a T72 chassis, but I'm not a tank aficionado. What the hell do I know? Object 156 O version. Alright, 900 fuel points. 20 seconds. Holy crap, that's a little bit long. 4 seconds between each burst. There's only 30 rounds per se, and it's bursting at 10 rounds. Huh. So technically 3 times 4 or 8 seconds of burst, or 12 seconds. What the hell? 12 seconds of burst for 30 damage. So 30, you have 900. That's 30 times 120. 30 times 12, that's 360, which means this thing has a burn limit or total of 360, not counting the reload time. So you can only burn consistently for 6 minutes, then you run out of ammo. So that is not enough compared to the original 1400. So you have a limitation with the actual ammo amount or flame fuel amount, but it has armor. It has 250 at the hull front, supposedly 90 at the hull sides. It is still quite fast with 60 kilometers per hour top speed and 21.6 horsepower per ton ratio. Camo is still pretty good. View range is better than before, better than the 𝘙𝗓 version, obviously, but 350 is still okay enough. It's like a Russian IS-6, right? It's like a heavy tank, but this thing has armor. It runs to you, dealing consistent damage. Not as high of a DPM now considering compared to before, only 2200. compared to like 3000. Yeah. Also, not as good accuracy, even though you don't need it. Aim time is about the same. Gun arc is 30 to each side, and 5 degrees of gun depression compared to 35. Yep. Nothing really out of the ordinary. 40 damage for the original compared to 40 for now. So they took the original stats on the Kundana Jagdpanzer and put it on this thing, but it has better view range and better horsepower per ton ratio now with better frontal armor. It is also premium. Fires fire. Aha! It is a T-72 chassis running at you. I mean, they used the T-72 chassis on the Terminator, right? So imagine a T-72 without a turret, without a machine gun thing, or the actual conventional turret, just runs to you throwing flamethrower from the bow machine gun thing, or bow flamethrower thing. It's a stupid flamethrower. It's fast. That's the worrisome point of these vehicles. It's fast, and it's also pretty stealthy. So these are practically ambush vehicle. While firing or camo after firing is garbage. Logically speaking, you'll be spotted if you fire the flamethrower, but you have armor to deal with that, obviously. It has the same health as before. Such a weird ass vehicle. I mean, we might see it. This thing appeared right after the debut of War Thunder's Crocodile Churchill tank with the Toad field drum in the back. So, Wargaming saw it. We want a flamethrower for ourselves. Let's put it on an actual vehicle and just try it out. I don't think the Crocodile Churchill tank is that good. You still use the main gun. You don't use the flamethrower that much. You don't really. Is it an okay-ish concept for the other servers? I still think it's interesting. It might be a little bit toxic depending on how you fight this thing, if it has armor. I mean, for the lower tier that doesn't have armor, just penetrate it and shoot it away. Fine. But for the higher tier, it is super toxic that imagine a heavy tank like a Object 279 early running to you with speed and just basically burns you to death while you cannot penetrate it. I mean, unless you hit the Commander Cupola, that is a little bit small. But yeah, imagine a very quick, or like the 268 version number 4, just without the gun, just throws flames at you, practically. Aggressive, but it is considered as artillery piece, so you might be able to finish some of the artillery missions. Personal missions might be completed with our artillery that's only a flamethrower. That's funny. Oh, there you go, folks. The flamethrower on the Russian server. So still interesting to talk about. A little bit toxic from my viewpoint, but then again, it's a Russian server, so who the hell knows? I know about the GSOR 1010. So we'll take a look once the actual pictures come out, but it is the first wheeled medium tank for the Brits. It has a good gun, but DPM is still kind of wonky, kind of meh. And accuracy is alright, aim time's alright, but still, it's like a Hellcat at tier 8 as a premium medium tank. But we'll have to see the actual soft stats with dispersion and camo. And view range is alright, it's pretty decent, but yeah, the most thing about this thing is how well you perform if you can kite people around with your speed. So depends on how well you drive the vehicle. The same way you play with the Hellcats or lower tiers T-67. But that's basically what you do to a mouse or something. You kite them around with your speed, shooting from one bush to another bush to another bush or something like that. But oh, there you go, folks. Flamethrower on the Russian server. Don't worry about it too much, but still interesting to talk about. We'll take a look at the GSOR once the full stats come out with the garage screenshots. But thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
And if she asks you why, you can tell her that I told you that I'm tired of castles in the air. I've got a dream I want the world to share, and castle walls just lead me to